つ。
My name is Zeke Funzel, and I'm a 14-year-old mountain biker from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, who needs to do bike. I've always been riding bikes and building sketchy little jumps with my brother, and started actually mountain biking a couple of years ago. I still have the first bike I ever bought. It was a 20-inch Next bike with a coaster brake that I got for $20 at a thrift store. It was not reliable, and the chain would sometimes fall off while going down a hill, leaving you brakeless while flying down a city street. As you can see, it has since been converted into a chopper. It is super fun to ride and, ironically, is brakeless. A few years later, with virtually no knowledge of bikes and with a horrible misconception that anything labeled dual suspension was good, I purchased a Mongoose from Walmart. Look familiar? Yep, that is a 26-inch model of the Mongoose. It's just as bad as any Walmart mountain bike, and a couple of weeks after I bought it, I crashed it into a tree and bent the fork back at a 25-degree angle. Surprisingly, I have to credit this bike with really getting me hooked on mountain biking, and looking back, I actually did some pretty crazy stuff on that bike. It has since been upcycled into a lamp that resides in our basement bike shop. After riding the Walgreens for a couple of months, I realized that it was no mountain bike, and I started looking for a real mountain bike. It was around this time that a FedEx truck showed up at our house and dropped off a bike box labeled DiamondBack. Neither my brother nor I had ordered a bike, and we knew our parents would never buy us a bike, so we had no idea what was going on. Unfortunately, the FedEx guy came back and told us that he had delivered it to the wrong address and took the bike away. So I started looking for a cheap bike on Craigslist and PinkBike. After scouring these sites for months, I finally found a cheap all-mountain hardtail. I worked out a deal and paid $325 for a 2007 Specialized P all-mountain. This bike was amazing at the time. It was the first real mountain bike I'd ever owned. It handled jumps well and worked on trails well enough, and is still my current bike. I've put tons of upgrades into it, but it's starting to break down and needs to be replaced by a full suspension mountain bike. The worst part of the whole bike is the suspension fork. It no longer holds negative air pressure, so I have to have the positive air pressure maxed out, otherwise it would sag through its entire travel. The front brake is terrible and only locks up if I use 2 fingers on the brake lever at max pressure. The tires are also extremely skinny, so they don't offer a whole lot of traction in mud or loose dirt. The bars are also pretty skinny, which makes the bike difficult to control at high speeds. The lack of rear suspension is great for jumps and flowy trails, but not so great for descending. I've done a couple of things to maximize the performance of this bike, such as adding a DIY mudguard to the fork and maxing out the pressure to make the fork rideable. I've also added some crank boots to protect the Anno Blue race-base cranks. And I've added a race-base chainstay protector to protect against chain slap. I've also added this anodized headset cap, just for style points. While trying to find new trails to ride this bike on, I discovered a mountain bike club called the Fox Valley Mountain Bikers that built and maintained trails in my area. I volunteered with them and helped build 2 more trails. I still help build trails and volunteer at the annual Fat Bike Race. We plan on building an all-mountain or freeride trail this summer, and a new full suspension bike would be amazing for that new trail. Because most trails in our area are flat cross-country trails, my brother and I have built jumps and other features on our property. Winning this bike would allow me to ride faster, push harder, and progress more. All things which make mountain biking even more fun and enjoyable. Thank you for watching this video, and who knows, next time I see you, it might be aboard an awesome DiamondBack Release 3.